Yo, what is going on, everyone? My name is Nate, also known as MewtwoFan Nate, and I am your coach of the New York Noibats for this season of the APA. So this is going to be my second draft analysis. If you guys are unfamiliar with what is going on, pretty much in this season of the APA, we decided to mix things up. We are drafting multiple times throughout the season, so this is going to be the second team that I've drafted. I believe we have one or two more drafts that still need to happen. And if you guys are liking this type of thing, you know, make sure you guys let every coach know in their comment section down below, especially mine. If you guys want to see more Draft League content from me, you know, hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, and make sure you guys leave a comment just letting me know what you think of the team overall. Watch till the end. And leave your thoughts. I would like to interact with you guys. I reply to them. That's the stuff that really gets me going. You know, I really thrive off of just, you know, talking to people, replying to comments and things like that. So all that stuff, really appreciated. And thank you for just clicking on this video to begin with. You know, appreciate you guys. Before I actually go into the nitty-gritty, the details of the draft, I just want to let you know the background thoughts, the gears that were turning in my head. So pretty much like when I went into this draft, I really wanted to just get a team filled with a bunch of incredibly hard hitters that just would make my opponent just have nightmares, just the most like headache prep that you could possibly think of. I wanted my opponents to just look at my team and just think, how the heck am I going to switch into the combination of this draft? So I think I did a pretty good job with it. I did get sniped on a few different things, but overall I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. So I guess without further ado, we're just going to jump right into the draft. So you guys can see right there, that is my first pick, and that is Kyurem-Black. Kyurem-Black is an absolute monster. If you guys know anything about Draft League format, you guys should know that this thing is just an absolute monster to prepare for, because this thing could hit super hard. This thing could be Choice Scarf, Z move. This thing could also just be bulky. Like you guys can see that it has a base 125 HP stat coupled with a 100 base defense and base 90 spit def. So that means you can, and this thing also does get the reliable recovery thing that it, you know, so it can be really bulky with roost and toxic and substitute, and then like ice beam or dragon pulse for coverage. So this thing can do a plethora of things, and it can do it really well. But overall, like, my opponent is just going to fear the big boss Z move that can come off this thing. This thing can go for a ICM Z free shock. It just absolutely just nuke something out of the water. This thing also gets pretty good coverage moves. I think it gets like Earth Power. What is it? Fusion Bolt, I think it gets. So overall, you know, pretty good moves that this thing could go for. The big plus that Kyurem-Black also has going for it, which is really nice, is its ability Terravolt. So if you guys don't know what Terravolt does, it says this Pokemon's moves and their effects ignore the abilities of other Pokemon. So just to give you guys an example of how that could work out for me, is that if my opponent has a Bronzong on their team and my Kyurem-Black is trying to beat this Bronzong, and normally Bronzong does very well against the Kyurem because of the fact that it has Levitate, it resists both Ice and Dragon, right? But with Terravolt, we ignore Levitate. We can hit that Bronzong with an Earth Power. So really good, absolute terrifying Pokemon to switch into for sure. So the next Pokemon that I picked kind of follows the same theme of how the heck do I switch into this thing. And we got Mega Medicham. Mega Medicham, super hard hitting Pokemon. And this thing is absolutely insane. I love its design as well, and it has just, I think it might be the hardest hitting high jump kick. I could be wrong, but it hits super hard with pure power and stab, and like it just, there's nothing that really wants to switch in. Like Unless it's like a Cresselia, then you're probably not going to be appreciating any hits from this Pokemon, to be honest. 100 base speed is really, really good. Speed ties with the things of like Manaphy and the other mythical Pokemon that are all base 100 speed starters, like Charizard, I guess. You know, just random, like, pretty irrelevant things. But base 100 speed is really, really good. There's a lot of Pokemon that are under base 100, so having a Pokemon that can outspeed the majority of things and just hit really, really hard, super, super good. This thing doesn't really get so much coverage, but it gets things that it needs. Like, I mean, obviously it has both stabs, like with like Drain Punch, Zen Headbutt, Psycho Cut, Drain. Did I say Drain Punch already? I think I did. But it also gets the elemental punches, so Ice Punch, Fire Punch, Thunder Punch. I feel like I said Ice Punch already. But it also has access to Priority Fake Out and Priority Bullet Punch, which is huge. Bullet Punch is really nice because I have Pure Power Bullet Punch from Medicham onto a Fairy type, which would normally want to try to switch it to take a fighting move from this thing. It's not going to appreciate the Bullet Punch, so we have a way of hitting those things super effectively. The only thing that really, really stops Mega Medicham from shining are Ghost types and other bulky Psychic types, mainly the bulky Psychic types. So we just need to make sure that throughout somewhere in our draft, we get a couple Pokemon that can kind of deal with those particular threats that are particular things that stop Mega Medicham from shining. So I feel like we kind of covered everything that Mega Medicham does. So we're just going to move on to the next Pokemon. And this Pokemon right here is Ribombee. So Ribombee is actually a really, really good Pokemon because it has access to Sticky Webs. And this is a Fairy type as well. So we have... we now have our Fairy of our Fairy Dragon Steel core with Kyurem starting off the Dragon part. So we do need to get a Steel type to pretty much finish it up. But just really the thing about Ribombee that it's really, really nice is it's just beautiful speed tier. Base 124 speed. Oh my goodness, this thing is fast. And obviously Sticky Webs, like I said before. And this thing also has access to setup, so it's not like just a fodder Pokemon where you just click stealth Sticky Webs and die. You know, it's like you can go for a Quiver Dance, you can go for a really strong Moonblast or Bug Buzz, and just be able to get like really, really good chip damage. Like sometimes there's not a lot of teams that might want to take choice specs Moonblast or Bug Buzzes like from Ribombee, and then this thing could also go for like U-turn to get initiative, and then we have like access to hidden power. So really, really cool. The other nice thing about Ribombee that I think I should probably mention is that its ability Shield Dust is really huge, and it definitely gives it an advantage when it comes to setting up the hazards. So for example, let's just say Ribombee is my Focus Sash lead Pokemon, and their way of stopping me from getting up my Sticky Webs is for them to click Fake Out against me. Well, Shield Dust is an ability that Ribombee has. It says this Pokemon is not affected by the secondary effect of another Pokemon's attack. So, meaning Fake Out will not flinch me, and I am able to get off my Sticky Webs no problem. So, really, really cool. I like this Pokemon a lot, and I think the combination of having Sticky Webs to slow things down and having a Pokemon such as like Kyurem or Mega Medicham to be able to outspeed things and just get huge damage off is going to be really, really beneficial. It's going to be a nightmare for my opponents to prep for. It might even cause them to over prep for something like this, and you know, it might just work out super, super well. So the next Pokemon that we have drafted is Bisharp, or Bisharp, however you want to say it. Potato, potato, tomato, tomato. So we got Bisharp here, and Bisharp is really, really good on this team. And why is that? Because it has the ability Defiant. Defiant says if this Pokemon, it has a stage lowered, like if it gets its speed lowered, if it gets its attack lowered, it gets a +2 boost on its stage boost. I don't know English. It says this Pokemon's attack is raised by 2 stages for each of its stat stages that are lowered by an opposing Pokemon. So there we go. That's the right way to say it. I don't know why I tried saying it backwards and I confused myself. So there you go. That's the ability, and that's huge because normally the biggest way that your opponent or opponents in general, because of the new tutor moves, everything got defogged. Everything gets defogged now. Or not literally everything, but a lot of things get defogged now. So that's probably going to be the primary way to remove hazards. So having a Pokemon with Defiant is really, really good because it kind of makes people reluctant to click defog, meaning my sticky web hazards should stay up on the field. And if they do click defog and I do bring this in, then I could potentially get a +2 physical attack boost and punish them for their mistake. And the thing that's really nice about Bisharp too is that even though it is kind of slow, it's a nice mid-tier speed, it's not really bothered by that because it does have access to Sucker Punch. And if we do end up having the webs up, then this thing is going to be really like such a huge threat. Like base 125, stab, knockoffs, iron heads, pursuits, going to be really, really nice to have, honestly. This thing also has access to Swords Dance on its own, so we don't have to rely on Defiant to give us a +2 in our attack. This thing also just gets like a couple like little things, like I think low kick is something that can be packed onto it, but there's really not too much. The thing that I don't like about Bisharp, I guess the two main things that I don't like about it is that it forces a lot of 50-50s because your opponent's going to expect the Sucker Punch, they might click Substitute, you have that thing going. There's also the fact that it's, what was that? I don't remember the second reason. The first reason, 50-50s. The second reason was that, oh, it's 4 move slot syndrome. The 4 move slot syndrome. Almost every week you're going to want to run like Swords Dance, Knockoff, Iron Head, and Sucker Punch. But then there's also times where you're going to want to run Pursuit or Stealth Rock. Oh yeah, it is a Stealth Rock user, by the way, guys. Not that I would probably ever use it for a Stealth Rock user, but it does get access to Taunt and Stealth Rock, so it could technically play that role if I wanted to. Not that I think it's the best role for Bisharp, but it is a possibility depending on, I guess, the matchup. But really, it's got trouble fitting all the moves that it needs to run, like with only the 4 slots. So that was the other thing. But other than that, I love this Pokemon on this team. I think it's going to perform pretty well. At least I can hope. And we're just going to move on because I think I said everything about this Pokemon. And we're going to move on to our next pick, which is Mesprit. Mesprit is a really cool Pokemon. I actually wanted to grab all 3 of the like trio Pokemon in my first draft, but I think Gym Leader Geo, I think Geo was running, doing like a Mono Psychic, and he ended up grabbing Mesprit or one of the other ones. So unfortunately, I was not able to complete that. Like I was really trying to go for some sort of meme, but so I decided that if we do end up making it into playoffs in my next draft, I'm definitely grabbing a Zelf. So that way I can put at least, I'm going to put all 3 of them on the team. I don't care how bad it makes the team, I'm putting all 3 of them on there. So we have Mesprit here, and Mesprit pairs really, really well with Bisharp. It's a nice fighting resist because Bisharp is 4 times weak to fighting, and it also has the ability to levitate, which makes it immune to ground, which Bisharp is weak to, so nice synergy there. And this thing is probably going to be my primary Stealth Rock setter. With the bulk that it has, base 80 HP and then base 105 in defense and special defense, it can really be EV to live almost any one hit and then click Stealth Rocks. So really, really good there. It also can be very offensive as well. It doesn't have to be fit into just a defensive role. Speaking of like defensive role, it could also be really supportive as well, or it could be like the point I'm trying to make right here is the words that are not coming to me is that it has the move Healing Wish. So if I want to, I could be running offense, like 3 offensive moves like Psychic, Thunderbolt, Energy Ball, and then Healing Wish. If my Kyurem-Black is my win condition for this game, and I messed up because I'm a potato, and it got weakened, and it was not going to be able to perform the way that I would need it to be performed. Maybe it got burned. I could just sack off Mesprit, click Healing Wish, and bring in the Kyurem and bring it back to full, bring it back to life. And I think that is really, really awesome. I think that's a really cool move. Gives it nice. It gives the team like kind of a fallback button in a sense, I guess. So that's really cool. Is there anything else I didn't mention? I guess that's pretty much it. Stealth Rocks, knockoff, U-turn, bulky psychic, I guess. It can also be offensive. I don't know. I guess that's really it. So we're going to move on to the next Pokemon, which is going to be Primarina. So Primarina is our water type in our fire, water, grass core. And this thing is a monster, an absolute monster to switch into. Like, for example, all of our other Pokemon are still really hard to switch into. Like Mesprit, if you fully invest and you like slap on choice specs, pretty hard to switch into. Bisharp, really hard to switch into. You don't really want to take those stab knockoffs, especially if you're running Adamant. So yeah, very, very scary team so far, I would say. And Primarina is no different, with base 126 special attack and the powerful stab moves like Moonblast and Hydro Pump, as well as the different coverage moves it can get to hit things that would resist the stabs. This thing is just an absolute nightmare to try to switch into. Choice specs, Primarina can do so much work to teams, and it's just like, it's not even funny. This thing has enough bulk to live hits to be able to just knock something out like in one hit. So this thing is absolutely crazy. Another cool thing that I actually do like about this that I didn't even think about when I was drafting it is that it has the ability Liquid Voice. So we're gonna go click on Liquid Voice, and I'll read you guys what this thing does. It says this Pokemon's sound-based moves become water moves. This effect comes after other effects that change the move's type, but before. Okay, so that doesn't really, I don't really care about that. But sound-based moves become water type moves, and if you guys don't know, sound-based moves, they go through things like Substitute. And a thing that I did mention before is with Bisharp. Bisharp often forces a lot of Pokemon to run Substitute on them because of the fact that it has Sucker Punch, and they try to use Substitute to kind of get around the Sucker Punch and then that type of thing, right? But with Liquid Voice, we can just bypass things like Substitute with our sound-based moves, and then we can go for like a Hyper Voice, like a Stab Hyper Voice, because they become a water type move. So I guess, I don't know if you technically get Stab on them, but you should, because they do turn into water type moves. Either way, hitting things through a Substitute that has already taken like 25% of their health to make the Substitute sounds really good to me. So I'm a big fan of that. So really, really nice Spadef. You can make this thing bulky, like max HP, max defense, and just run it with like Scald to get burns. But yeah, I think this thing is going to be really fun to use. It's really pretty, and I want to be able to use the Z move on this thing, because it does get the special Z move. What is it? I don't remember, the Ocean Apparatus, something like that. But it's really cool. Hopefully, if I do run it 1 week, I don't get copywritten, because I feel like that was one of the things that was like really annoying for a bunch of content creators when the Z move like first came out. But anyway, we're gonna move on to the next Pokemon, which is Blacephalon. Blacephalon is just, again, this is just following the same theme of the team. Like, I think you guys are starting to get the idea. Like, these things are so hard to switch into. So we have our water, and this is our fire. So we got this is the fire of the fire, water, grass core. Really, really nice speeds here. You're gonna be able to outspeeding a lot of different things. Beast Boost, really cool ability. If you knock out a Pokemon, you gain a +1 to your high stat. So most likely gonna be our special attack, unless we decide to go negative like IVs or something on it, or minus IVs on it, to give us ourselves a boost in like speed or something. Maybe we can run that, who knows. But I really like that it does have access to like Calm Mind. I think it gets knockoff as well, so really cool. Probably gets Will-O-Wisp because it's a fire type and a ghost type, so that's kind of a neat thing. But I really do see myself just using like Calm Mind plus a Z move, to be honest, because that's just what makes the most sense in my head. I feel like that's probably the standard set too. Like if I were to, I'm not going to scroll down, but yeah, I'm just going to assume that that's like the set that they have on there, because that's just, it just seems like the most threatening thing that I could probably think of. This thing has, I could go for Z Mind Blown. Do you guys, I'm not sure if you guys know what the move Mind Blown does, but it's such a strong move that they had to pretty much, there had to be some negative effect to balance it out, because it's so powerful. It takes away half of your HP when you use it. It's a really high base power, and then when you use that with a Z move, it's like just an absolute nuke. So really cool. I think that's really it for Blacephalon. It doesn't really do too much, except that it's a fast, hard-hitting Pokemon. You can also attack in some physical moves, but that's really it. Ghost type, so it's immune to normal. I can't think of anything else, so we're gonna move on to Tsareena, our thick Tsareena. And I love this Pokemon a lot. She has really nice defenses, base 98 on the defense and special defense. And the thing that I really like about her is that she has the move Rapid Spin, and Rapid Spin is huge because now I'm not forced to defog away my own sticky webs. I can go for Rapid Spin just to get rid of whatever hazards that are on my side of the field. And this thing also kind of fits the theme of how do I switch into this thing. Base 120 physical attack with like maybe Choice Band or something, Power Whip, it just does so much damage, and it's kind of insane. Nice speed here, base 72, kind of outspeeding the things that are like base 70, so that's really nice. The other thing that I like about it is it has the ability Queenly Majesty. It says, while this Pokemon is active, priority moves from opposing Pokemon targeted at allies are prevented from having an effect. So they worded that really weirdly, but essentially what it's trying to say is that we are immune to priority moves. So things like Fake Out, Ice Shard, Mach Punch, Bullet Punch, just like those priority moves that are pesky. Quick Attack. We go up against a Swellow that has Quick Attack. Ooh, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Knock it out real quick. And okay, anyway, so this thing really cool. Has knockoff U-turn, high jump kick. This is another Pokemon that has them thick legs for high jump kicks. We just high jump kick in everything with our team. I like it. Reliable recovery with synthesis. It also has aromatherapy, so it can act as a cleric. If my Kyurem-Black or my Mega Medicham gets burned, we can aromatherapy away our burns, and if we get toxic, all that stuff, really nice. I like the Pokemon because of the versatility of it being either defensive or offensive, with sticky webs just being like a huge bonus on top of that. So really cool. I'm kind of digging the team. Hopefully you guys are too. So the next Pokemon we have is Electross. I didn't have a electric type yet, and this also does give me another ground immunity, so that does kind of help out with the weakness that we had from Bisharp and Blacephalon, and I guess that's really I guess that's all that we had so far for the ground weaknesses. So I'm pretty happy with this. I like this Pokemon a lot just because of how versatile it can be. Like, it can be ran like physically offensive, especially offensive, or mixed, or it can just be bulky, run toxic or assault vest. Like, it does like a bunch of, like, it doesn't do like a lot of different things, but the few things that it does really well. I think the best thing about it is just it's like multitude of like coverage moves, like with like flamethrower, U-turn. It does get U-turn too, so we don't always have to use Volt Switch for the Switch initiative. The knockoff Acid Spray, I think it gets the coil if I want to set up I know it can run that set. Thunderbolt, Wild Charge. I'm trying to think of the moves. I should have had this written down in front of me, but this thing does has a really cool move pool, and I hope to be using it well this season. So I guess we're gonna just move on to the next Pokemon, because I don't really like Electross that much, as not as like a Pokemon, but as its like design after like 6th gen. I think like 5th gen it had it, but as soon as they gave it like the 3D model, I just was like, I don't know, I'm not a fan. So we have Braviary. Braviary is such a threat. Another Pokemon that just fits the theme of how do I switch into this thing. Do you guys remember how hard it was to switch into like Talonflame back in the day? When so Talonflame had a base like 81 attack, right? This thing is base 123. Base 123 Brave Birds. Are we serious? This thing is gonna hit like a truck. Sticky Webs makes this thing so much more of a threat, and it does like almost the same things, and it even probably does it a little bit better because of the fact that we can hit rock types. We don't have to use Steel Wing. We can use Superpower, a base 120 move, so super strong. That's really what's up. This thing also, because of its like really high attack stat, and most of the time it'll be going for Brave Birds, which is already a high base power moves, we don't always have to invest in our attack, so we could run a lot more bulk. This thing has base 100 HP, not like terrible defenses. We can pair that with like a bulk up set, maybe some leftovers, Roost, reliable recovery, get set up, and we just start putting in the work with this thing. So I really like the different offensive options that we have with this thing. It doesn't always have to be just a like the one trick pony like Choice Scarf or Choice Band. This thing could also be a setup mod, maybe like Substitute. This thing might get like, probably gets like Tailwind, maybe go for like Tailwind and then maybe like just destroy things. I don't know. I like the different options, and with Z moves, anything is possible. Anything is possible with this. So really cool. Its other abilities aren't really important. Keen Eye and Sheer Force don't really do anything for it unless I decide to pack on Rock Slide. But it's really, I don't know. I'd probably rather have Defiant on there. So we're just gonna move into the last and the final mon of the draft, and that is Rhydon. And we're gonna, yes, censor you a little bit more. I don't know, still not really censored, but you guys can see it, so that's fine. We have Rhydon here, and its abilities are pretty not important, but the main thing that is important is that this thing is a middle evolution, so it can run Eviolite, so that base 120 defense is going to be super strong. The base 45 special defense is still going to be really bad, but it has a base 105 HP, so it makes it not terrible. So I really like that this Pokemon can set up with Rock Polish as well. So one of like the worst things about it is that its speed is so bad, but the fact that this thing can run Rock Polish kind of negates one of those things that's not so great about it. So this thing also does give me a pretty reliable Stealth Rock user, and the fact that it is kind of bulky. Can live most hits unless they're like one of the things that it does have like the 4x weaknesses to. So that's really cool. I like that this thing just has like a plethora of just coverage of like, you know, I think it's like Mega Horn, and like other things like that. So I think it gets Aqua Tail too, like Ice Punch. I think it's like Elemental Punches, like Fire Punch, definitely Ice Punch for sure. But that just makes it really hard to switch into. I think it gets Roar, so you can roar things out. Probably gets Dragon Tail. I don't know, I could be wrong. It does. It has a tail, so I would imagine that it does, but I still think Roar is fine. Base 130 attack, acts as a Sword Stance as well, can boost its own attack. But even if it's not boosted, those Earthquakes coming off of a base 130 attack is gonna hurt. You guys know that I think Garchomp has a base 130 attack. This is I got a base 130 attack Pokemon in tier 5. In tier 5, this is value pick right there. So With that being said, I think that's just going to round off the draft. I think that's really it. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. I really want to try to conversate with you guys there. Just I want to say thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. You guys are awesome. I'll see you in the battle for week 5 against Gators. So bye bye.